So check this out. The Bible is actually the planet Jupiter in disguise. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but check this out. All these other books, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, all these other books are all just Jupiter in disguise. Because when you really get into the energy of Jupiter and you understand what it is and you see how it plays out throughout people on Earth, you just understand the energy of Jupiter just really represent the energy of wisdom, the energy of the meaning and reasoning behind things. It's really just illustrations of knowledge. Like Jupiter on Earth would play out as like a coat. You know, it could these planetary energies can play out on Earth and a lot of different mediumships and a lot of different mediums, but ultimately it's just a composition of someone's or a group of people's mental travel, which is basically just the trials and tribulations that they went through, and they compiled it into a book of wisdom, basically. So you know what happens when you read a book like the Bible or a book like the Quran? You feel like you know more about the morality. You feel like you know more about wisdom. You feel like you have more knowledge than others. You feel like you are morally superior. This is why you would even have a Muslim trying to convert someone else to a different religion, or a Christian trying to convert someone else to a different religion. Because behind closed doors, subconsciously, they think based on them reading this book, which is just no, they don't know this, but I know this, that it's just a six-dimensional energy of Jupiter playing out on Earth. It makes them feel like that they know more, that they know better, that this person need to listen to them, all because they're listening to a composition of the 360 days of the year, 365 days, doesn't matter, the degrees of the year that come to 360 or 365 or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Because every day the sun moves through a degree and things like that. So technically it's like 31 days, but you can calculate it, up to you. Everybody does it differently, but the point being is that this is just literally Jupiter playing out in disguise right in your face, down to even everything around us, down to even having like a schematic, a plan. You could look at that like that's like Venus and Mercury. Because why? Mercury, it has the information in it, as far as the analyzation, the schematic. Let's say how to build like a boat, how to build like a ship, and then Venus will be the outcome. This will be something that is valuable, which is what Venus. What doesn't have the polarity of what, Taurus. So Taurus, what is Taurus? Taurus is the fixated values, material things that you should value. But Taurus, that's why you see Taurus is valuing physical things, material things, because material things are more almost like spiritual. So when you see a Bible, when you see a Quran, down to even, there's a lot of different representations of Jupiter, and don't get lost necessarily in the idea of, oh, okay, for me to be enlightened, for me to have wisdom, it means I gotta go read the Bible, it means I gotta go read the Quran. No, know what you're reading, but don't necessarily worship it, because now you understand where the energy signature itself is coming from, so you don't get lost in some man-made representations, in some man-made depictions from 3,000, 2,000 years ago. Now you understand what they're pointing to. Now you understand the dots they're connecting. Now the Bible and the Quran, sure, they're books about the whole 360. They're books about the angels in the 360, which is basically degrees in the 360. In any culture, if you go to the past, you will see them making deities, entities out of these days, out of these seasons, out of certain times of the year and things like that. And making the holidays, celebrations and things like that. So even for the Jews, the Sabbath will be like Saturn and things like that. So don't get lost in these man-made representations. Understand where they got derived from, because it's all just comes from a mental spiritual currency. Whenever you have a man-made tradition, a man-made culture and things like that, you got to be able to see where do these things derive from in the first place, rather than you worshiping the creation. Because we're not supposed to worship the creations. We are the creators participating as the creations. So don't get lost in another man's creation, forgetting that you is a creator. That's you giving up your power. That's you giving up your ability to create. That's you giving up your intent. You're giving up so much in the process of just looking at another man's thoughts and feelings. Don't even look at my thoughts and feelings like they the shit. You got thoughts and feelings too, but sometimes it just depends on how many linguistical layers, or how many genjutsus, how many illusions are you trapped into for you not to be able to understand or see or witness what's going on in the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth dimensional sky. Because right now we're experiencing the third dimensional sky, the sun and the moon's polarity, but we don't necessarily understand, don't really understand how to make a spaceship, how to go to the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth dimension, not look at this body like they are this body, but look at your mental body like it's your real body, and be able to create more mental bodies to the point that you have an army of mental bodies, like where it's like it's down to even how people have like personality disorders, but it's not really a disorder. It's really just them creating a character. Because what is belief? When you believe in something so much, when you put so much faith and energy into a belief, it become real. So if you believe, like, you know, you can literally create a personality disorder, but it's not really a disorder. You're really just creating different parts of you, and those different parts of you may not know how to talk to each other and things like that. And right now, that's one of the problems that a lot of people face. A lot of people's different personalities, different aspects don't really know how to talk to each other, because based on like some trauma that you could have went through when you was a child, you could have just created another face. This is why there's an acronym in psychology called faces, because you might have created a face that you don't really know how to get out of, or you might not know how to revert back to your childhood face and things like that, if you know what I'm saying. Because when children are curious and things like that, sometimes your curiosity can get plucked from you, and you might just not be able to access that again, and you lose so much with that. So, and you might even be born in like the winter, or you born like up north in the Caucasus Mountains and shit like that. You might be born with aspects that represent the fall and the wintertime. And it's not that it's bad, but you want to be able to bring all these things full circle, bring these things all together, so you can actually start to be a proper creator, and not just being a creator that creates things on accident, on whim, and then you don't really know, you kind of blame God, but you're creating these things. But you got to get into how you created these things, and sometimes you have to unfuck yourself by the things that you created, so you can actually start to create properly. That's like, that's like an artist not having like a proper routine to bring about their creation. So whatever routine you live your life, whatever mind frame you live your life by, routinely by, you might not necessarily have a proper routine to actually manifest those things. Because a lot of those things they shout at government give us, like, you're experiencing a problem, go to the psych ward, I know a lot of people that went there actually, personally in my life. So it's really interesting because no one really tells them to do no shadow work, no spiritual work. The only solution they got for you is to take a pill, to take some kind of medicine, just to make you shut the fuck up. But that's not really helping anything, and that's why, like, I don't like the Jews and things like that, because they're kind of being egotistical. They're kind of being stupid with how they're doing. Because I understand, like, they kind of need to do what they need to do, because they can't just allow any spirit to just come in and wash their system, because they kind of like fighting a bigger battle at the same time, while we're fighting our own battle. So they trying to figure out how to like deal with that battle while simultaneously trying to and imagine having a manager at work. They're trying to manage 10, 20 people. Can you imagine managing a bunch of life forms on Earth and trying to track reincarnations? This should get deep, bro. This should get deep. So this is why they feel like they need to give you a Quran. This is why they feel like they need to give you a Bible. This is why they feel like they need to give you a Bhagavad Gita, for you to just worship their thoughts and feelings about the sky while they're busy dealing with another battle. And when they're done with that battle, that can kind of open up the way to people to come through to their level. But that's like speculation. I can't say they're gonna do that. But it gets really deep, because they're not necessarily bad, but at the same time, like, they just trying to figure things out. But the way they're trying to figure things out might like harm, fraud people, because they really just got like a lot of blood on their hands at the same time. But the thing is, they trying to almost create a system where like they don't manifest a lot of blood on their hands by the shit that they do. So they kind of like perfecting their system as they go along. It's kind of like you, for example. If you got a goal or something, if you're an artist, if you're a musician, you got to create a system by which to capture your artistic expressions. So, and the more perfected your system is, the less time you have to spend on it. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like what they're doing. They're creating a system where they have to spend less time on it, and it's autonomous and shit like that. But that's kind of what we got to do in our own life. But anyways, that was a whole side thought. But just keep in mind, man, the Bible, the Quran, all these books, nothing but just Jupiter energy, nothing but just depictions, illustrations of these degrees going on in the sky. And every single day, you experience the thing that they call Asmodeus, lust. You experience the thing they call Satan, wrath. You experience you experience all these things that they depict in the Bible. Why? Because they're planetary energies that we always deal with, and they give you these books as a form of a mental crutch for you to, deal with those things. but you're not really dealing with them in a healthy way. But at the same time, that's the way of doing it. But being religious is not really going to help you in the long run. You got to create your own intellectual property, your own view of these things that are harmonious with you, so you don't get lost worshiping, giving up money to some shit that don't even matter none at the end of the day. But yeah, real shit.